This is Growth Mode On, the podcast for business owners who are done guessing and ready to build with intention. Flip the switch, build your brand, grow your business. When your business depends on you explaining it, your authority resets, your growth caps out. And that's exactly what YouTube is meant to fix. If you're already running a successful business, this isn't about more content or more noise. It's about leverage. It's about building a brand that works even when you're not in the room. Most companies hit a point where growth feels heavier than it should. The message lives in the founder's head. The pitch changes depending on who's talking. The reputation is strong locally, but fragmented digitally. YouTube done right isn't social media. It's a trust engine. It's where future customers decide who they believe before they ever reach out. Today, we're breaking down the real reason YouTube scales business growth and how branding turns effort into authority. Here's the takeaway. Growth breaks when it depends entirely on you. The businesses that scale aren't louder, they're clearer. Their message is consistent. Their authority shows up before they do. That's the real power of YouTube. Not views, not virality, trust at scale. This is Growth Mode On. Flip the switch, build your brand, and grow your business.
Okay, so today we have Nayeli Escamilla on the phone, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about what a writer is, what a writer does, and we're going to just dive down into that rabbit hole. But a little bit about Nayeli. She's a bilingual copywriter. She graduated from U of H with a broadcast journalism degree, and when she's not writing, she's also an actress and a voiceover talent, which actually sounds kind of exciting. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. And she loves traveling, dancing, salsa dancing. Wow, that's exciting. Trail walking, and listening to live music. So Nayeli, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited. So yes, a little bit about myself. I think you pretty much covered everything. I'm a very creative person. I love, like as you mentioned, outside of work, I'm an actress. I'm a voiceover artist. I love to dance, and that's why I like copywriting so much too. I like working in projects that involve different things and writing for different projects. Yes, I enjoy having a creative life, and I also enjoy that in my work.
How did you get involved with writing? Because writing is not something easy for, I hate writing. I mean, when I took my SATs to get into college, I think I scored a 200 in English. I think if you just sign your name on the sheet, you get a 200, and that's what I scored.
That's funny. I don't know. Writing was always one of my strengths in high school when I did research papers, back before ChatGPT, back whenever we actually had to do the research and everything. I always had really good grades in English and language arts and spelling. It was just something that I was good at. So when I had to decide on a career, I just tried to pick something that came naturally to me. So broadcast journalism was the closest thing that I could find to acting. I knew that I didn't want to go to college for acting because I knew that I didn't need an acting degree to be able to act. So broadcasting journalism kind of covered a little bit of everything. And with the writing is just something that, you have to incorporate in broadcast journalism. You have to be a good writer and you have to be good on camera.
I have to admit, broadcast journalism sounds like so much fun.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a different type of writing than the one that I currently do. I'm currently a marketing copywriter. So even though you still have to write for broadcast journalism, it's a lot more conversational and, because you're doing broadcast stuff. So it has to be a lot more, not so much salesy. But yes, it's very interesting.
So as a marketing copywriter, what is it that you actually do?
So basically you write copy for a lot of different mediums for the company or the product that you're trying to highlight. So essentially I write copy for website, for social media, any print collateral, banners, retail banners, digital banners, emails, like whenever you get a hold of a client or you want to reach new people, you come up with a marketing campaign, an email campaign, and basically all of that, different kinds of mediums. And you're basically putting the product, the service, or the company out there for people to know.
And when you say copy, let's say a business owner that has no experience in writing, what does copy mean?
So copy is anything anything written, basically. So basically you're using words to engage an audience or your clients.
That sounds like so important.
Yes, it is. Especially in the times that we live now, you have to be very strategic with your writing because people have a lot shorter attention spans, and we're competing with a lot of things on social media, and there's a lot of things competing for our attention. So we have to be very intentional and strategic with our copy or the words that we utilize to engage that audience.
Yeah, I hear when you're scrolling, when a business owner or somebody, I'm just using business owners because our listeners are business owners or entrepreneurs. When they're scrolling, I mean, you've got like less than a second to catch their attention because they're scrolling through stuff, especially like on a thumbnail. The copy is so important.
That's right. Yes, you want to make sure that you capture that audience's attention. That's why as a copywriter, you have to be very creative too. And the less words that you have to capture their attention, the more creative that you have to be.
Yeah. And I guess that puts a lot of responsibility on you then, huh?
It does. And it also, obviously, we work as a team with graphic designers and, to try to come up with the best way to capture the attention of people. But yes, that's where the fun comes in because you want to be, obviously it's strategic, but it's creative. And you also don't want to come across as salesy or you don't want to be obvious. So that's where the fun part comes in.
So this is interesting. And I know I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, but I know you've worked with Jill before, right?
I have. Mm-hmm.
So Jill, how does that look like? Like you guys work together. Mm-hmm. So walk me through that. And how would you guys do that?
Well, pretty much I need copy to design something. And
so copy comes first.
Copy comes first. Yeah. Because if it's just designing, then it's kind of like fine art. It's a very different branch. So I need copy to design something. So both design and copy need each other to communicate a message.
Yes.
So Nayeli would come up with some copy and she'd give it to you and say, okay, we need a design. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And then you go back and forth or?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I pretty much design based off of what the copy says. So depending on the emphasis, like if we're emphasizing, for example, certain product, I'm obviously going to use an image of that product. Also the branding colors, but I fully rely on the copy to design.
And I don't want to say it's more important, but they're both just equally important, but then the copy is like really, really important.
It is. And I mean, also, if there is just copy and no design, it also kind of falls flat.
Yes.
Because design is to catch people's eye.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And vice versa too. If you have, a very good design, but the copy, it's cheesy or, it doesn't really highlight the image well, but it is a very collaborative effort and it's very fun too. I loved working with Jill because we collaborated and she would accept some of my input and I would also get input from her. So it was just really fun. Like at the end of the day, you're trying to get a message across and it's for the good of the product or the company or whatever it is that you're trying to highlight.
That does sound exciting.
So you're working together towards that objective.
So Nayeli, you said you work on several mediums, right? You mentioned like websites, Facebook, emails. That's right. Yeah. Can you tell me more about like, okay, so I'm a business owner and if I hire you, what mediums would you help me the most in, I guess, getting more customers, building my business?
I would say to start off with a website. It's very important to have a website. Nowadays, if you don't have a website, you don't exist. Same goes with your social media presence. You have to have a LinkedIn page or a LinkedIn profile, and you have to be on Instagram, Facebook. Those are like the strongest ones, especially LinkedIn, because that's how you find a business. So I would make those two a priority, and then just make sure that you have a good website with precise and concise copy because, like I said, it all goes down to people not liking to read that much anymore. And that's the reality nowadays. Yeah. So you want to have a website that is visually appealing. That's also very important. Like you want to have good design and everything. And that's where, people like Jill come in. And you want to have all your information about your company on your website. You want to have something professional, but that it's also easy to read and easy to navigate. And from there, then start working on your social media presence. So having a good LinkedIn profile and Instagram, like most people our age and older are very active on Instagram and Facebook, and just making sure that you have relevant posts so you can get people engaging with your company or with your product or service. And you also can post a lot of things on social to take them to your website. So make sure you have like good pages, good landing pages. If you're highlighting, whatever it is that you're trying to highlight on your website, then create a social post that's fun and engaging. And then from there, take them to your website and that all creates traffic.
You said something really important, engagement, right? That's like such an important thing. And I know that helps everything. And that's so important for businesses and algorithms. Let's say like YouTube algorithm and Facebook algorithm, the more engagement you have, the more they push your post out, right?
Right.
So what are some tricks that you use to get engagement?
I would say it's very much collaborative too. Like design is very important too. Like that's the first thing that catches people's attention, like, the image. And then having good copy, like something that piques their attention, something that interests them.
So between you and Jill, you've got to get engagement.
Yes.
That's a lot of responsibility.
And especially with Instagram, because Instagram is very, very much about visuals. Whatever is trending, like trends change.
Yeah.
Like sometimes carousels will be more popular, or maybe, you know, a reel, you want to come up with a reel, or maybe just something simple, just like a very good image with catchy content, like a catchy copy, and that's going to take them eventually to your website.
To me, that sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure like business owners love that kind of stuff too, because that's just pure results oriented.
It very much is.
And then I guess you're the writer, but do you keep track of like the analytics behind all that? Like how many people clicked on the website?
I myself haven't done that yet. I've worked with teams that have their own people who do that. They keep track of all the analytics and they report that senior marketer is or whoever's in charge. So I haven't done that yet.
Like you need a specialized person to do that. I mean, that's like so important.
Yes.
You know, tracking all that behavior.
But they're part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're part of the team. So they will tell you, hey, you know, we need to maybe change this a little bit, or maybe try posting earlier, or maybe on this day, or, you know, because analytics are showing this.
Yeah.
So maybe we're posting on a Friday at 5:00, and that's when like nobody's going to engage with your content. So maybe change that strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So just to move on a little bit, I'm curious, okay, if you can answer this. I am a business owner. Like I have my own business. It's, actually, you know, production for YouTube. I create YouTube content for companies. Why do I need a writer, and why can't I do it myself? What would you think?
Well, my first answer to that would be, I don't think that as an owner, you would have time to properly engage in everything that a writer needs to. And I guess my most obvious answer would be, you know, you want to take that off your plate. You know, you have other things to worry about and other things to manage and organize. So having a good content writer is a great asset to your team, because they're going to be working strategically to give your brand that visibility. And you want to hire someone who is familiar with your brand voice and your messaging. And that's going to be, it's something that you learn. The writer has to get familiar with that, so familiar with your brand and your voice and your tone that they can just do it like in second nature. So that's why you want to hire a copywriter, because you want someone who is not only good at what they do. Obviously, they have to be good in grammar and writing, obviously, and all of that stuff, but they also have to know about a lot of things, you know, like engagement and SEO and be a creative person, obviously, too, and how to get that message across.
It's like a specialty. I mean, it's like so deep that, of course, an entrepreneur would not know. I know an entrepreneur wears many hats, a business owner wears many hats, but, you know, they don't specialize that deep.
Yeah, Nayeli, I was also going to mention like the tone of the brand, right? Like how once the tone of the brand is established, then it's really up to the writers to develop that and create that. That takes a specialist to do that. For example, if a brand's tone is a lot of humor, for example, or like some brands can be a little bit more formal, it does take a specialist, a writer, to make that a reality and create that.
Yes, to understand that and to develop that, because also like every brand has its own voice and tone and personality. So when I think of writing, it's very much a voice. It's like having a conversation, but you know, you're reading it instead of having the conversation. So when you read content, you're not just reading, you're listening to a voice. That's really what you're doing. So it's very important to be able to establish that brand voice, and you need a professional to do that, like someone who understands your brand voice and who can write content for different mediums while being consistent with that brand voice, because that is very much the personality of that company or that product. So you want to be consistent with that brand voice.
So, you know, just to move on, and I know that on our next episode, we're going to be talking about this. So maybe if you want to just give us like a yes or a no, right? Do you use ChatGPT?
Do I use ChatGPT as a writer?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want me to dive into it, or you just want me to give you
Yeah, just a yes and no, because in the next episode, we're going to dive into it. So if you're out there listening and you want to hear how Nayeli uses ChatGPT and if ChatGPT is going to replace writers, listen for the next episode, okay?
And also let us know where people can find you.
Yeah. That's the big question, is like, how do we find you as a writer so we can hire you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. So you can find me. Well, I have my website if you want to see some of the content that I've written for different brands. The website is nayeliescamilla.com. It's long and complicated.
Yeah, but I'll put that in the description so people can click on it, right?
Yes. Thank you. So yeah, that's my name, basically, Nayeli Escamilla. And you can also find me on LinkedIn.
And then just the last question, because I know there's a lot of people that want to hire you, but at what point should they hire you?
I would say when they're ready to expand their business and to make their business known. It's very important to, once you're established as a business, you want to hire a copywriter. I would even say from the beginning, because you want to have your website. I think that's like the first step. You need to have a website, and you want to have a website with good content and that matches your brand. So from the beginning, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, to me, it's like a catch-22, right? It's like you need a copywriter when you start, but you need money to hire a copywriter. So it's kind of like, okay, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? But then definitely, like, especially for those businesses that start with capital, like they get a lot of investments to start the right way, definitely hiring a copywriter right off the bat is like the best thing, because you're establishing your company with the writer and the writer's understanding your brand, and then they can actually just go with it.
Yes, I understand the money situation, but I think it's a very good investment to hire a copywriter because, like I said, that is your image, that is your brand image. So if you're trying to sell me a product or you're trying to promote a business and I go into your website and that's the first thing I'm going to notice. Obviously, for me as a copywriter, mistakes pop out even more, but some of these mistakes are very obvious to just like anybody. So if I notice something, not as a copywriter, but I'm just going to your website and I notice something that's very badly written, or on the other hand, it's maybe not enough information or not enough copy or maybe too much copy, then I'm automatically going to doubt about your business because I'm not going to see it as something professional. So I would say that it's something very important and a very good investment to hire a good copywriter early on.
Well, thank you so much, Nayeli, for being on the show today. I look forward to our next episode. We're going to be talking about ChatGPT. So if you guys out there listening, we'll probably release this a week. Every week we're going to release one. The next week we release it, it'll be the one on ChatGPT. So stay tuned and come back and listen to us again.
Thank you, Nayeli.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, that's it for today's episode of Growth Mode On. If you want my eyes on your business and a real practical plan you can actually execute, book a free 30-minute strategy session with me. The link is in the description. We'll look at what you're selling, who you're trying to reach, and how to turn YouTube into a predictable growth engine. And hey, if this episode helped even a little, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment with your biggest takeaway or the thing you're stuck on. I read them all. Links in the description for the 30-minute session, and I'll see you in the next episode.